Hello students. In the last class, we have discussed about some of the important concepts related to the spectroscopy, that is spectrum, what are the uses of spectrum, along with that how the hydrogen spectrum can be obtained, and different lines or the different series which are present in the hydrogen spectrum, that is the Lyman series, Balmer series, Paschen series, Brackett series and Punch series we have seen. Along with that, we have studied the Bose atomic model of hydrogen, and we have seen some of the important postulates which can be asked for 2 to 3 marks for your annual examination. Along with that, we have seen some of the important limitations of Bohr's atomic model. That's all what we have studied in the previous class. But in today's class, I will go through some of the important concepts like a dual behavior of matter and Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, and we'll go through some of the important concepts related to quantum numbers also. So now we'll start with the dual behavior of matter. Already we know the dual nature of light, which means the light can be present even in the form of wave. Similarly, it can travel in the form of particle also. There were different phenomena like photoelectric effect, right? And Planck's quantum theory generally explained the light will behave like a particle. And there were some important properties like reflection, refraction, deflection, and diffraction were the some of the important propagation also, right? So these were the some of the important phenomena which explained that light can travel in the form of wave also, right? So therefore here we are studying about the dual behavior of matter, which means even matter also. Matter means we know that anything which occupies space and has some mass is generally called as matter, and this matter also shows the both particle as well as wave nature, right? So the particle as well as the wave nature can be seen in case of matter, and that was given by the de Broglie's relation. De Broglie is the name of scientist. So that de Broglie gave a relation that is lambda is equal to h divided by m into v. Lambda is equal to h divided by m into v. So therefore m into v can be taken as a momentum, that is p, right? So therefore lambda is equal to h divided by p. H is a Planck's constant. Already we have seen in case of Planck's theory, right? So therefore lambda is a wavelength. Lambda is equal to h divided by p. P is the momentum, that is mass into velocity. M into v. So we can take it as p is equal to m into v, because so p is equal to m into v. So therefore wherever m into v is there, I can substitute there p. Therefore lambda is equal to h divided by p, right? So remember, the de Broglie's equation says that so the matter shows both particle and wave nature, and it can be given in terms of a de Broglie's relation, that is lambda is equal to, lambda means you already know that is a wavelength, that is equal to h, Planck's constant, divided by mass into velocity. I can replace mass into velocity by momentum. If you multiply mass into velocity, it is momentum. Therefore lambda is equal to h divided by p. So that is all about the dual behavior of matter. Matter can be present in the form of particle also, or it may be present in the form of wave nature also, right? So further, if you go with one of the important principles, so that is known as Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. This can be asked for 2 marks for your annual examination. Most important principle, right? So Heisenberg is the name of scientist. He said that so it is impossible to determine. Understand the word impossible, right? So we cannot determine simultaneously, which means at the same time, the exact position and exact momentum or the velocity of the electron. The product of their uncertainties are always equal to or greater than h upon 4 pi, right? So here if you observe, so if I consider, we'll do some of the rough work here, right? So if you take the nucleus, if you consider this as a nucleus and this as an orbit, and this is the electron revolving around the nucleus, right? So this electron, right? So there will be two things to measure here. So one is position, right? So at what position this electron is present, at what position that electron is present, that is known as position. Second one is velocity, right? So second thing is velocity. First thing is position, second thing is velocity. Velocity you can call it as speed, right? And you cannot calculate, right? So the main theme of Heisenberg uncertainty principle is you cannot calculate this both position and velocity at the same time, right? At same time you cannot calculate or determine, right? So you cannot determine the exact, right? So the exact position as well as speed, that is velocity of the electron in an orbit, right? So which is present around the nucleus of the atom, right? So according to Heisenberg in uncertainty principle, at same time, so you cannot determine the exact position as well as exact velocity of the, right? So exact position and exact velocity of the electron which is present in the around the nucleus of the atom. So therefore it states that it's highly impossible to determine simultaneously the exact position. These two words are very important, right? So exact position and exact momentum, which is nothing but the velocity of an electron, the product of their uncertainties, right? So this is uncertain, right? So the product of their uncertainty is always equal to or greater than of h upon 4 pi, right? So mathematically you can give the expression that is delta x into delta p, which is greater than or equal to h upon 4 pi, right? So the Heisenberg uncertainty principle says that delta x, right? So that is the position, and delta p, that is a momentum, right? So that is always greater than or equal to h upon 4 pi, right? So this is the expression which was given by Heisenberg, and the principle is called as Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Delta x, where x represents the distance and that is nothing but the position, and p represents the momentum. Momentum means mass into velocity, right? So if you multiply this both position, right, so that is distance and velocity, which will be always greater than or equal to h upon 4 pi, right? So it will be always greater than or equal to h upon 4 pi. That was the expression given by Heisenberg, and therefore it is known as Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Remember, mathematically you can give the Heisenberg uncertainty principle in the form of delta x. Delta x represents the uncertainty in the position, change in the position, right? And delta p represents the uncertainty in the momentum, right? So x represents the position and p represents the momentum. So therefore that value is always greater than or equal to h upon 4 pi, right? So this is the most repeated 2 marks question. Go through the whole question paper, you will observe this question, explain or define Heisenberg uncertainty principle. You must write that it states that it is impossible to determine simultaneously the exact position as well as the exact momentum, which is nothing but the velocity of an electron. The product of their uncertainty is always equal to or greater than h upon 4 pi. Therefore mathematically delta x into delta p is always greater than or equal to h upon 4 pi, where x represents, which means delta x is nothing but change in value, right? So uncertainty in the position, delta p represents the uncertainty in the momentum, right? So that is all about the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Further, if you go for the next important concept, that is quantum numbers, right? So from quantum numbers, most of the time you will get a 3 marks question. Explain quantum numbers, right? Or explain different types of quantum numbers. Most of the time it is a repeated question for 3 marks. Explain quantum numbers, right? So generally there are a set of 4 quantum numbers. Which specify the energy, size, shape and orientation of the orbit, right? So quantum numbers, right? So generally quantum numbers, right? So the role of quantum numbers is to explain the complete atom, right? So it will completely explain the atom and the electrons, right? So it will completely explain the atom including electrons, right? So nucleus as well as electron. So here the quantum numbers are useful for the determination of size, energy, shape and orientation of the orbit, right? So explanation is always about orbitals, right? So orbitals means the path. If you consider this nucleus, this is the path, right? So this is generally termed as the orbitals. So this orbitals is explained with the help of quantum number, right? So generally quantum numbers mainly explain the complete atom, right? So in the form of orbitals, right? So therefore the complete explanation about orbitals is given with the help of quantum numbers. Generally it will explain about the first one, energy of the orbital, right? Size of the orbital, right? The third one is shape of the orbital and in which orientation the orbitals are present, right? So it will explain 4 things. One is it can explain the energy of the orbital, it can explain the size of the orbital, it can explain the shape of the orbital, along with that it can explain the orientation of the orbital, right? Therefore the complete information about the atom or the orbital can be given only with the help of quantum numbers. right? So therefore quantum numbers are very important for the explanation of overall orbital system. In case of atom, if you consider any atom, to explain the overall system of that atom, we require quantum numbers. Therefore quantum numbers is very most important thing in the determination of energy of the orbital, size of the orbital, shape of the orbital, along with that orientation of the orbital, right? So if you observe, there are set of 4 quantum numbers. Generally there are 4 quantum numbers. These 4 quantum numbers are generally useful to the determination of energy, size, shape and orientation of the orbital. That is nothing but complete information, right? So that is nothing but the complete information about orbitals, right? So is given by the quantum number, right? So generally quantum numbers explain the complete information regarding to the orbitals, right? So further, if you see, there are 4 important quantum numbers. In that, first one is a principal quantum number, second one is azimuthal quantum number, right? So third one is magnetic quantum number, or you can call it as a magnetic orbital quantum number, and fourth one is electron spin quantum number. Here you must understand the notations, how they are represented. Principal quantum number is always represented with a small letter n, that is for alphabet n, and azimuthal quantum number is represented with the small alphabet L, and magnetic quantum number is represented with the ML, that is M subscript L, both are small, and the electron spin quantum number, generally you can call it a spin quantum number, so therefore it is represented as MS, right? So understand, there are 4 important quantum number. So one is generally called as a principal, right? So quantum number, and it is represented as small n, and the second one is azimuthal quantum number, right? So azimuthal quantum number, it is represented as small l. Third one is magnetic quantum number, or you can call it as magnetic orbital quantum number, which is represented as M subscript L. M subscript L. Subscript means which is written down, right? And fourth one is spin quantum number. You can call it as electron spin quantum number also, which is represented as M small s, right? So like this, there are 4 important quantum number. In that, first one is principal quantum number, second one is azimuthal quantum number, third one is magnetic quantum number, fourth one is spin quantum number, right? So all these quantum numbers generally helps in the explanation of a complete orbital system in case of any of the atom, right? So further we'll see what are the significance and what are the importance of these principal quantum number and how they work. Okay, here if you observe, the complete information is given within a single chart, that is quantum numbers, right? So there are 4 quantum numbers. I have made 4 columns. One is principal quantum number, second one is azimuthal quantum number, third one is magnetic quantum number, and fourth one is spin quantum number, right? So in case of principal quantum number, what happens? It generally identifies this shell which determines the size energy of the orbital. Generally it will give the size and energy of the orbital, right? For example, if you take a KLMN, right? So are nothing but it determines the size or energy of the orbital, right? So principal quantum number, always remember. So in case of first one, so I'll do some rough work here. So in case of principal quantum number, here it determines size and energy, right? So the first thing of determination of size and energy can be given with the help of principal quantum number, and it can be given as 1, 2, 3 and 4, right? So K, L, M, N, right? So it determines the main energy level, right? So it generally determines the main energy level, right? So if you take the principal quantum number, so which is represented as N, right? So the second letter, that is a small alphabet N, and it determines the, right? So size and energy of the orbital. It determines the size and energy of the orbital, and the size and energy of the orbital can be given as K, L, M, N. Remember, K is 1, L is 2, M is 3, N is 4, like this, so on, right? So it determines mainly the main energy levels. It generally determines the main energy level and total number of orbitals which are present in that, right? So if you take first one, right? So the total number of orbitals, it can be determined as n square. The total number of orbitals, right? So which can present in that shell can be given as n square, right? So if you make 1 square, right? So that will be 1. If you make 2 square, that will be 4, right? So if you make 3 square, that will be 9. If you make 4 square, that will be equal to 16. That is nothing but the determination of a number of orbitals, right? So in one orbital, we can fix maximum 2n square of electrons. In one orbital, we can fix the 2n square. Remember always, 2n square of electrons can be present in case of one orbital, right? So if you take 2n square for this one, it will become 2, right? So number of electrons. If it is 4, if you put here n value is 4, there is a 4 square, right? So that is nothing but it is 8, right? So like this. So here next, if you put 3, if you put 3, what happens? It will become 18. If you put 4, it will become 32, like that, right? So if you go on making 2n square, it will be 8, it will be 18, and it will be 32, which means maximum 32 electrons can be present in a fourth orbit, that is n shell. It can hold about 32 orbit. This is nothing but this column is about electrons which are present, which are in the form of 2n square, and this is nothing but the orbitals, right? So therefore the principal quantum number mainly helps to explain the size as well as energy, which is determined by small letter n, and it is generally used for the determination of main energy level, right? So that only we have given in the box representation. And second important thing, right? So second type of quantum number, that is azimuthal quantum number. It is azimuthal quantum number, right? So here in case of azimuthal quantum number, what happens? So it identifies the subshell and determines the shape of the orbit, right? So here we have determined the main energy level, but here in case of azimuthal quantum number, what we'll do? We will determine the sub energy level, right? So here we can determine the, so in case of this azimuthal quantum number, we determine the sub energy level, but in principal quantum number, we determine the main energy level, right? So here if you observe, the number of orbitals in the shell can be given as, right? So here the number of orbitals, that is suborbital, right? So in the energy, in the subshell can be given in the form of 2l plus 1. Here if you observe, it is in the form of 2l plus 1, because azimuthal quantum number is represented by L. Azimuthal quantum number is represented by L. So therefore number of orbitals is given by 2l plus 1. If you put 0 here, it will be 2 into 0 plus 1 is 1. 2 into 1 means, so it is 1 plus, that is 2 into 1, that is 2 plus 1, that is equal to 3. Like this we can calculate the, here if you observe, I have given the notation, right? So like different orbital, S, P, D, F, right? So different orbitals, it can starts with a 0, right? So that is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So S is 0, P is 1, D is 2, and F is 3. Like this, the different orbitals, the value of L can be given as S is 0, P is 1, D is 2, F is 3, Z is 4, like this, right? So therefore remember, here in case of principal quantum number, they start with 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So they start with 1, 2, 3, 4, but the azimuthal quantum number will start with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is the main difference between the principal quantum number and azimuthal quantum number. Therefore, the main energy level, which was determined with the help of principal quantum number, but the sub energy level were determined by the azimuthal quantum number. The most important thing here you have to remember is the number of orbitals can be given as 2l plus 1. Right? So for example, if you put 1 here, so if I put L is equal to 1, right? So if I put L is equal to 1, so that will become 2 into 1 plus 1. That is 2 into 1 is 1, that is equal to 3. So if I put that is 2, L is equal to 2, then what happens? 2 into 2 plus 1, that is equal to 4 plus 1, right? So that is 4 plus 1, that is equal to 5. Like this, we can determine the how many azimuthal quantum number can be present in case of any of the orbital, right? So that is about the azimuthal quantum. Just remember two important points. One is principal quantum number determines main energy level. Azimuthal quantum number determines the sub energy level. Principal quantum number starts from 1, 2, 3, 4, which were determined as KLMN, and azimuthal quantum number are determined by 0, 1, 2, 3, and they starts with S, P, D, F. These are generally called as sub energy level. And the third one, the third important quantum number is magnetic quantum number. Right? So third important quantum number is, here you can observe, that is a magnetic quantum number. Magnetic quantum number, and it is represented as, right? So it is represented as M, L, M subscript L. That is magnetic quantum number. And magnetic quantum number gives the information about special orientation of the orbit. right? So special orientation, right? Which means it will generally determine the orientation, right? So the magnetic quantum number generally shows the orientation, right? Orientation means the different ways in the arrangement. Orientation means different ways in the arrangement that can be explained with the help of magnetic quantum number, right? So here if you observe, it can be given in the form of, it can be given with the help of the same formula. You can use this formula here, that is 2l plus 1. If you use 2l plus 1, so here for example if I take, if l is equal to 2, right? So if l is equal to 2, here if I fix 2l plus 1, that will be equal to 2 into 2 plus 1, that will be equal to 5. Therefore there are 5 magnetic quantum numbers. These are 5 magnetic quantum numbers. So therefore I can take it as middle one is always 0, middle one is always 0, and here if you go right side it is plus 1 plus 2, right? So if you go left side it is minus 1 minus 2, right? So these are the 5 important quantum numbers, right? So 1 2 3 4 5, right? So like this the magnetic quantum numbers are arranged, which is nothing but the orientation, remember magnetic quantum number, in magnetic quantum number it will generally specify the orientation of the orbitals and orientation of the electron, which means the magnetic quantum numbers are dependent on azimuthal quantum number. If you want to determine the magnetic quantum number, first you must know the azimuthal quantum number, which means magnetic quantum number is highly dependent on azimuthal, because we use the same formula 2l plus 1. First you understand this 2l plus 1. Why we use this 2l plus 1? For the number of orbitals. When you understand the number of orbitals, we can take the magnetic quantum number. For example, if it is if l is equal to 3, if I put l is equal to 3, then what happens? So here I will with the formula 2l plus 1, that is equal to 2 into 3 plus 1, right? So that is 6 plus 1, that is 7. There are 7 magnetic quantum number, right? So if there are 3 orbitals, that is 3 azimuthal quantum numbers, in that we will get 7 magnetic quantum number. That is nothing but, initially we will take it 0 and remaining is 6, that is plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 right side, minus 1 minus 2 minus 3 side, right? So in the left side, so therefore it must be symmetric, right? So minus 3 minus 2 minus 1 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3, like this there are 7 magnetic quantum numbers whenever the azimuthal quantum number value is 3. Like this we have to determine the magnetic quantum number, right? Fourth one is spin quantum number. It is determined as EMS. Spin quantum number determined as MS, right? So here the spin quantum number refers the orientation of the spin of the electron. It can have 2 spin, one is clockwise or it can have the anti-clockwise. For example, if you take a electron, if I consider this as an electron, if I consider this as a nucleus, and the electron will revolve around the nucleus, right? So here you can consider, so that is electron revolving around the nucleus. So this electron can move in the clockwise direction, right? So it can move in the clockwise direction, or it can move in the, so it can move in the anti-clockwise direction, right? So it can move in the clockwise direction or it can move in the anti-clockwise direction. Here what happens, if it moves in the clockwise direction, its spinning momentum will be plus 1 by 2. If it moves in the anti-clockwise direction, its spinning moment will be minus 1 by 2, right? So for example, if it moves in the clockwise means if you consider this as a clock, right? So if it moves in this direction, that is called as clockwise. If it moves in the reverse direction, you will call it as anti-clockwise. Here you can observe, so this is clockwise, right? So this is anti-clockwise, right? So one is clockwise, another one is anti-clockwise, right? So we'll do the rough work here. Again I will draw the nucleus, and around the nucleus there is a momentum of electron, right? So this is an electron. So this electron, if you consider a clock, if I consider this clock, right? So this clock, if rotate in this direction, right, the needles which are present in the clock, if it rotates in this direction, we will call it as a clockwise. So the normal orientation is called clockwise, and if it rotates in this direction, this is anti-clockwise, that is reverse condition, anti-clockwise. Therefore similarly, if the electron moves in this direction, we will call it as clockwise. If the electron moves in this direction, we will call it as anti-clockwise. Therefore, there are two kinds of spin. One is clockwise, right? So second one is anti-clockwise. Right? So one is clockwise, anti-clockwise. If the spinning momentum of electron is clockwise, we can call it as 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2. And if it is anti-clockwise, that is plus minus 1 by 2. Right? Similarly, we show the electrons in the orbit. If you consider these orbitals, p orbitals, the electrons will be, one will be above, below, above, below, above, below, like this. Right? So like this, the above orientation of electron represents it is plus half spin, and another one, this below represents the minus half spin, which means the electron can rotate in the clockwise direction as well as it can rotate in the anti-clockwise direction, right? So that is nothing but the spinning momentum. That is nothing but the spin of electron can be, that is nothing but rotation in a clockwise and anti-clockwise direction was given with the help of a spin quantum number. Was given with the help of spin quantum, which means all the quantum numbers are important and all the quantum numbers explain one or the another properties that was given with the help of the overall explanation for the atom as well as orbital. Once we'll see in the shortcut, that is a principal quantum number, right? Second one is azimuthal quantum number. Third one is the magnetic quantum number. Fourth one is spin quantum number, right? So what is the role of principal quantum number here? To determine the main energy level. To determine the main energy level, and they are given in the terms of KLMN. They are given in the form of KLMN. Azimuthal quantum number generally explain the sub energy level. Sub energy level, and these are given by SPDF. Right? So this starts with 0, 1, 2, 3. And here KLMN starts with 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? And magnetic quantum number determines the orientation. Orientation, that is nothing but a 0, plus 1, plus 2, minus 1, minus 2, like this orientation of the electron with a formula. What is the formula? That is 2L plus 1. It uses the azimuthal quantum number. Right? So the magnetic quantum number uses the azimuthal quantum number, and spin quantum number represents the spinning momentum. So it generally gives the spinning momentum of the electron in the orbit, and there are two types of spinning. One is clockwise, that is plus half, and another one is anti-clockwise, that is generally termed as minus 1. So in this way, we can determine all the four quantum numbers, which will explain the overall information regarding to the complete orbital system. So therefore, once we'll see what we have studied today. One is dual behavior of matter that we have studied today. Along with that, Heisenberg uncertainty principle, that is generally asked for 2 marks. Be careful with the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. And along with that, we have studied the 3 marks important question, that is quantum numbers, and explanation about the quantum numbers, and remember the representation. Principal quantum number is represented by small n, azimuthal quantum number is represented by small l, and magnetic quantum number is represented by m subscript l. Along with that, electron spin quantum number is given by m subscript s. And we have seen some of the rough work here, that is about the explanation about the quantum number, which explains the energy, shape, size as well as orientation, which means complete information regarding to the quantum numbers. So, and these four are principal, azimuthal, magnetic and spin, and we have seen their explanation also. Principal quantum number, which explains the size and energy, KLMN, there is main energy levels. Azimuthal quantum number explains the sub energy levels, which is denoted by the notation L, and it is having the formula for the calculation of number of orbital, that is 2L plus 1, and here they give the SPDF orbital, which were given in the form of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. And further, magnetic quantum numbers can be obtained with the help of azimuthal quantum number formula, that is 2L plus 1. Whenever you put the value L is equal to 1, L is equal to 2, on the basis of that the magnetic quantum number will obtain. If you put L is equal to 2, right? So I have given 2 examples here. If it is L is equal to 2, I have got 5 magnetic quantum number, and if it is L is equal to 3, I have got 7 magnetic quantum numbers. And along with that, we have seen spin of quantum number, spin quantum number, that is clockwise and anti-clockwise, right? So this is all about the today's class. We'll continue in the next class, and I will give this notes even in case of your WhatsApp also. Thanks for joining.